also thank Achan and the office bearers of Head Mission for giving me this opportunity. The topic given to me for today's meditation is taken from Mark chapter 5 verse 21 to 43. Mark chapter 5 verse 21 to 43. I am not reading the full portion. I will just read one verse, verse 34. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed." Let us bow down our heads for a word of prayer. Loving Heavenly Father, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak from your holy words. Thank you for bringing us all here together on this Friday evening during this Lent season. Today, as we meditate on your word, help us to understand your eternal meaning. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you. Amen. This is a very familiar passage which we all know. In this, there are two healing stories or two incidents, and it is about the two daughters of Israel. That is, one is Jairus' daughter, the other one is the woman who was suffering from bleeding from the past 12 years. Now, if you see Mark chapter 5, in the beginning, Jesus was working among the Gentiles. Now he is coming to the Jews. He is working among the Jews. This itself shows that Jesus does not have any discrimination between the Jews or Gentiles. For him, everyone is equal. Now, as soon as he comes over here, one of the rulers of the synagogue by the name of Jairus, he comes and falls straight at the feet of Jesus. And he is telling, "My daughter lies at the point of death. Please come and heal her." He is just falling here and he is saying, "My daughter is very sick. She is about to die. Please come and heal her." He is requesting Jesus to come and touch her and heal her. Now let us see, who is this Jairus? Jairus was a Jew. First of all, he was a Jew. Secondly, he was a leader of the synagogue. Now, Jewish people, they always have a feeling that they are of the superior race. And secondly, he was a leader of this synagogue. So, but still he did not have any feeling here. He is going against all these rules, and he forgot his reputation, he forgot his power, he forgot everything, and he is falling at the feet of Jesus. Why? Because he was so desperate. He wanted his daughter to be healed. He didn't let his position or anything to come in front of him. He just wanted his daughter to be healed. He had heard about Jesus and he believed that it was only Jesus who could save his daughter. So he did not think anything. There was no other option for him but just to fall at the feet of Jesus. Now, Jairus was a man of authority. He had all the power with him. He could have given an order to Jesus, saying, "Jesus, come and heal my daughter." He could have said that. But did he say that? No. He just humbled himself. He falls at the feet and he is requesting Jesus to cure his daughter. And that also, did he do it in private where he was alone? No. Only Jesus and he was there? No. He is doing it in front of the full crowd. The full crowd was there, and that time he is falling at the feet of Jesus. Now, falling at the feet of Jesus shows that he had true faith and he had absolute submission for Jesus. He is falling there. Jesus does not have any difference between the master or the slave, a Gentile or a Jew, or rich or poor. Jesus just loves us and he just cares about us and he is ready to help us at any time. But only thing what Jesus needs is we have to go and fall at him, go and request him. He is ready to help us. We have to just submit ourselves to the Lord and he is ready to help us at all times. Now, when Jesus was going to, now Jesus heard the humble request of Jairus and he is going to Jairus' daughter's place. And then what happens? A large crowd started following Jesus. And you know that there was so much of pushing and rushing, and there was a big crowd going. Just imagine in the evening time when you go to Borivali station. Can you walk a few steps without touching anybody? No. You have to touch at least 10 people before taking a few steps. But same way, there was lot of pushing and rushing there. And in between, a woman comes secretly. She comes and touches the clothes of Jesus. Very secretly, she's coming and touching the clothes of Jesus. Now, who was this woman? This woman was suffering from bleeding from the past 12 long years. She went to many doctors, must have gone to many specialists, but there was no cure. She spent all her money, she spent all her savings, but did she get any cure? No, not at all. In fact, it became bad to worse. And she was suffering for this from the past 12 long years. Now, according to the Jewish custom, if a woman is suffering from bleeding, she was considered as unclean, and anything that she touches also becomes unclean. So just imagine if we are in that place, we are considered as unclean, and whatever we touches becomes unclean. Will we be happy? No, we will be also very depressed. We will be going away from the public, and we will not have anybody beside us. Now that is why she had to maintain isolation, social distancing, quarantine. Now these words are very common to us now. Earlier we never knew this, but now it is very common because few years back we also had to face this during the COVID times. We were not allowed to step out of the house, and we were in the four walls and we were stuck inside that. Imagine, we did not have any friends at that time. We could not go out even for our daily necessities, and just for 1 or 2 years we had to suffer, and we were really suffocated in that condition. But imagine this lady, she had to suffer this for the past 12 long years, and because of this she did not have any friends, she did not have any relatives, she did not have money, she did not have any wealth, and she was a destitute, and she was considered as a cursed woman. Now according to the Jewish custom, it is said that if you have any personal tragedy or if you are falling sick, they always consider this as a punishment from God for their personal sins. And that is why this lady does not go with her head up and behind Jesus. She goes secretly behind Jesus. She was afraid that if people saw her, they will identify her and they will shoo her away from there. And that is why she was scared. But when she heard about Jesus, she heard that Jesus was a great leader. He was a great preacher and a great healer. So she had hope in Jesus. For her, Jesus was the only hope. That is why she decided that I will go very quietly and I will touch at least the end of the robes of Jesus. And with this full faith, she is quietly going behind the crowd, and she must have crawled slowly underneath, and she must have touched the robes. But what happened when she touched? Two things happened. First of all, Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. Secondly, the woman felt that the body was healed. These two things happened. Now Jesus knew that there were many people who were touching Jesus, but this touch was different. Jesus recognized that this touch was different, and he is turning around and he is asking, who touched me? Jesus asked, who touched me? Jesus knew very well that it was this lady who had touched, but Jesus wanted this lady to admit that she had touched. Why? Because he wanted to make her realize that it was her faith that has healed her, not the robes. Otherwise she will go and tell the world that it is Jesus' clothes had magical powers. It was miraculous and the robes had cured her. She will tell. But Jesus did not want that. Jesus wanted her to know that it was her faith that has healed her. And many times we see there are people, they go to the temples or many places they go and they worship the idols, the statues. They go and pray to the statues, they touch the statues, they kiss the statues and they pray to the statues. That is idol worship. So Jesus did not want that. Jesus wanted her to know that it is her faith that has cured her. And when Jesus asked, "Who touched me?" this woman quietly stepped forward and she told the whole truth. She tells Jesus. She submitted herself to Jesus. Now what was the response of Jesus? Did Jesus get angry? No. Jesus said, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and healed of your disease." She had faith and she had fear also. But her fear was replaced by faith. And she is referred to as daughter now. And from woman she was given promotion to daughter. In verse 34 it is said that Jesus is calling her daughter. And this shows his love and acceptance. When Jesus has accepted her, she has become clean. And next Jesus is saying, "Your faith has healed you." Jesus recognized her, this woman, as woman of faith and praised her faith. Thirdly, Jesus is saying, "Go in peace." Now, she was healed. Now, if she just did not surrender and she just vanished with that healing, she will just get that healing. But now she's getting a bonus here. That is, she's getting peace also. She's getting healing also. She's getting peace also. Now she was totally free from all the suffering, physical, spiritual and emotional. She was free. Now she becomes a member of God's kingdom, and as Jesus is calling her daughter. Finally, when Jesus is going to Jairus' house and the daughter was already dead, and Jesus is touching the hand of the child or that girl, little girl, and asks her to get up. And when they reached there, everybody was panicking there. But Jesus said, "Don't be afraid, only believe." And he made that girl get up, and the girl got up and started walking. Now from these two stories or from two incidents, there are 5 things in common. First one is desperate. The Jairus was so desperate that he is falling at the, he forgets his position and is falling at the feet of Jesus. Why? Because he was desperate. And the sick woman is spending all her wealth, all her money. Why? Because she was desperate. She wanted to get herself cured. Second point is 12 years. The Jairus' daughter is mentioned as she is 12 years. And this woman is also suffering from 12 years. So the number 12 is also in common over here. Then daughter. Third one is daughter. Jairus is saying, "My little daughter." That is his little daughter. And then Jesus is calling this woman daughter. So in both the stories there are daughter. Then next one is unclean. Jesus took the child by hand and asked her to get up. Now according to the Jewish custom, if a person touches the dead body, then that person becomes unclean. In Numbers chapter 19 verse 11, it is said, "Those who touch a corpse is ritually unclean." So here Jesus is becoming unclean according to the Jewish custom. Now we see the woman. She is already suffering with bleeding and she is unclean. And now she is touching the robes of Jesus, and here again it's said that Jesus also becomes unclean. The last point is faith. Jairus is begging Jesus to cure his daughter. Why? Because he had so much of faith in Jesus. Then the woman is saying that she is thinking, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." That she is thinking this because she has total faith in Jesus. Now, among all these 5 points, the last point, that is faith, is the most important over here. In the Old Testament, we see many times people are saved or people are pure because of their faith. We know in the book of Daniel chapter 3, 1 to 30, we can see the story of Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, how they were saved. Then in Genesis chapter 6 to 8, we know the story of Noah. There was no sign of rain or water, but still he is making a boat. Why? Because he had faith in God. Then we know the story of Job, how much of faith he had. Then again in Daniel's book we see Daniel's faith when he was put into the lion's den. Then Abraham, he was ready to slaughter his son. Why? Because he had faith in God. Then in the New Testament also we can see several incidents where people are cured. That is in Matthew chapter 8 verse 2 and 3 we can see how the leper was healed by faith. Then in Matthew 8 chapter 10 we see that Jesus saying to the centurion, I have not found such great faith, not even in Israel. Then we see in Matthew chapter 9, 28 and 29, Jesus touching the blind man and healing. Now, do we have any faith like this? I'll just tell you a small story. That is, in a village, there was no rain from the past 2 years. There was severe drought. All the rivers dried up. All the lakes and ponds dried up. The wells also started drying up. So now the people started panicking. They started running here and there and they started asking, there is no sign of rain and all the water is drying up. So what shall we do? So then somebody said, there is a wise old man staying on top of the hill. You just go and ask him. So the people went there and asked this wise man. The wise man said, there is only one solution. You have to pray. All the people in the village get together and pray, and only then that is the only solution. So the next day they decided that all the members in the village, the sick, the old, the young, everybody, all the members in the village will gather together in one ground and they will start praying for rain. And so they all gathered in the morning, but everybody came. Only one small boy came with an umbrella. So who had faith? Only this little boy, he had faith in prayer. That is, my prayers will be answered, and that is why he carried the umbrella. Now in today's story we saw two types of healing. That is, Jairus' daughter was touched by Jesus and healed, and the woman touched Jesus and got healed. Now we know that Jesus is touching Jairus' daughter and getting healed. Then we know that the blind man was healed, the leper was healed by the touch of Jesus. And many times people touching Jesus and getting healed. That is, the woman went and touched Jesus and got healed. In Matthew chapter 14 verse 34, 35, 36 we read that many sick people were healed because they touched the edge of the cloak of Jesus. Then in Mark chapter 3 verse 10, a crowd came pushing to touch Jesus to get healing. So in Luke chapter 6, 19 also it is said that many people tried to touch Jesus, for power was going out from him. Now it is not necessary that always Jesus will come and touch us. We can also go and touch Jesus and get healing. So just as it is said that mountains can be also moved if we have faith. Now do we have faith? Let us all ask our own self. Now during this Lent season, let us get more closer to God and have faith in God, and let us all trust in God. Thank you.